Welcome to another edition of Talking Ish Fridays. I'm Alphonso McClendon of Talking Ish. What are we doing?
I got ish to say.
I got Ish to Say podcast. That's what I love about live. You can make mistakes and recover from it at the same time. That's what the ish is all about. I've gotten a lot of compliments about what we're doing with um, the podcast, and everybody asked me, "Hey, how are you doing it?" And the last time I had part of my team here with me, everybody was like, "Hey, we need to hear more from the engine that moves I Got Ish to Say podcast." So we decided on every first Friday we're gonna bring HC Global in, and we just gonna have a candid conversation about what HC Global does, how can it benefit your business, and just educate us on that development part of what you're trying to do. When you say I got the vision on paper, how can I manifest what I'm reading and writing on paper? So this is the engine that moves I Got Ish to Say podcast. So it's a lot that we're doing, and everybody think we've been running for years, and actually we haven't. It's just, and that's what I want to talk about in the initial stages. A lot of people have said they thought we've been doing this for a long time, and actually we haven't. We sat down and had a conversation, and then from that conversation, I Got Ish to Say was given birth. What do you think is the success behind I Got Ish to Say? And even when it comes to what we're doing, where people feel like you guys been doing it for a long time.
You know, you're absolutely right. Sometimes it does feel like it's been a long time as well, but it's alignment and it's clear vision. And I think that's the key to success with anything that you are doing, especially in business, is if you can be really clear about your objectives, then it makes it so much more, I think, seamless when you're laying out your roadmap to be able to identify what is it going to take to launch, what is it going to take to execute on the vision, and then actually the run and maintain then also becomes, like clockwork. So I think that's what it was, the alignment and the clear vision.
Okay. So basically, you can have the right team, and you're not articulating the vision right, and you're gonna still get the wrong results. So it starts with vision first, formulating the right team, and then the execution of the vision.
Absolutely.
Okay.
In that order. Yes.
Okay. So when we look at HC Global, can you give us an overview of your executive coaching services?
Absolutely. So I think, the number one thing that you have to realize as a entrepreneur, as a professional, and this is whether you own your own business, whether you have a team of people working for you, or whether you clock in for a Fortune 500 company. One of the most important things that you need is your own personal board of directors, and an executive coach is part of that. And so what that is it's an opportunity to have someone who is objective, right, but highly skilled and highly trained at being able to help identify your blind spots, right, and to provide you with those tools and to provide you with that tangible feedback, not opinion, not, you may have those folks that you can go to that allow you to be able to decompress, right?
Right.
But this is tactical with actionable steps and something that is a tool that you really want to have in your arsenal, right, to be able to grow your brand, your business, and really the future of what you're trying to accomplish professionally.
One of the things that frustrates me, I was part of, when I was living in Chicago, I was part of a team, and I call this person Big Brother. So when he said he'd know I'm talking about him, I call him Big Brother, but I was sitting on his board, and the main thing he wanted us there to be co-signers of his dysfunction. And I'm the one that challenges his dysfunction. And so it's like you can have people that you get on your board that they're your cheerleaders, and when the board meeting is over, you have a faction of your board over here saying, he don't know what he's doing, he don't know what he's talking about. But it's that board meeting where you should say that, because at the end of the day, if we going from point A to point B, you should want people around you, diverse people around you, but also people to say, well, that's not the right way to do it. Let's do it this way. And that's not. And then you got to also understand too that when you formulate a business, and this is my opinion, but you're the subject matter expert, when you form a business, insecurity should not be the core of who you are, because people are around you, they will challenge especially in areas, as you say, you need somebody who can handle your blind spot. So if I don't know certain things, then you should cover me in those areas if that's what your expertise is. I often tell people all the time, and you get frustrated with me about this because a lot of times I'm like, I ain't got it. I don't want to deal with that. If you say do this, I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna do that. But it's because the team that I got around me, I trust. I've articulated the vision, and you guys is pretty much running with the vision. So another thing, you got to have people around you that you trust as well, right? So when you look at that, what is the ideal client for HC Global? And what should that client expect as their return of investment?
That's a great question. You know, the thing that stands out most about what you've asked and about what you just shared is that you can get your own opinion for free,
Right.
right? And so if you are not curious and open to realize,
Hey, this is Talking This Friday. We often wrestle with, do we want to do these live or do we want to edit them? But Talking This Friday is an uncut conversation, and I love it when you have the interruptions behind uncut conversations, because we grow in these conversations. I don't like to be scripted. One of the things that Holly, which is also the executive producer of I Got Ish to Say podcast, she always have these notes for me to keep me on course because I might get off on the soapbox and I don't want to let it go. And she'd be like, oh, I got it, roll. So that's the thing about being live. And so the more we do it, the better we get at it. So I love the interruptions. So as you were saying,
yeah, as I said, you get your own opinion for free, right? And so if that's the case, then you may want to ask yourself, am I ready to bring in a consulting firm? Am I able to bring in a marketer? Am I able to bring in a strategist? Because the first thing you have to conquer is your mindset, right? And so you got to make sure that you have the right mindset to grow a business. And so that ideal client for me is that, just that. There's no perfect client in terms of what your bottom line needs to look like, or what your ROI has been month over month or year over year. It's mindset, and are you ready? That's the qualifier for me. And then if that's there, then we can get to work.
a lot of times I've seen, and you speak to that, a lot of times I've seen people, one, either feel that they don't have a budget for it, which they actually do. And then a lot of times people, they have the I syndrome. They want to say what I've done instead of having a team around you to make.
So there's a proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And that is kind of the mindset that I see that as being, having that team around you. If you're not utilizing that team effectively, right? If you're not actually pulling from, like, you got to go back. Maybe even it's this, stepping back. Why did I bring these people on board?
Right, right.
Why do I have a team? Right? What is the, like? Did you have a roadmap? Did you have objectives, key results, and outcomes that you're trying to achieve?
Right.
Like, some of this isn't even, it's not opinion, it's strategy.
Right.
And again, if these are the questions that you're saying to yourself, like, well, what would be on that roadmap, or
Right.
what would those key results, what would those objectives be? Then that may be an identifier that you need to call me, right? That
So,
we
so,
need to work.
so, so in business also, when you say you should have a strategy, should we also include possible challenges or failures as a part of the strategy as well? Because, yes, you got a blueprint of what you want to happen, but just as some of the contractors have blueprints, sometimes they can't get a permit because they need to go change this. So what seems to be a setback is really not a setback. So in strategy, we should account for those potholes as well, correct?
Yeah, a strategy is a living, breathing document, right?
Okay.
And so you should certainly be able to identify when it's time to pivot. Your strategy is not static. So if you were to map out what your year is going to look like, when you map out what your 5-year plan is going to look like, you do need to leave room for the pivot. And that's simply because there could be changes in the market, there could be changes in the needs of your customers.
Right.
There's so many outliers that you won't be able to identify day one. So you just have to actually build in a little bit of room for the pivot, whether it's financially, whether it's staffing wise, whether just making sure that you're thinking that of that. I want to just add on this. Going to that North Star, do I need to pivot? It's not going to be where you get to the end and you say, my goodness, I failed. I did not get this accomplished that I wanted to accomplish. You should be doing those retrospectives on a regular, consistent basis.
So even in successful businesses who've been up years, would you advise a rebranding as well to make, what is the benefits of rebranding?
Mm-hmm. A lot of times, I've heard people say, I made the best decision with the information I had at the time, right? And that's what you're doing in business. You're making your best decision. And I think that we can all say, if we were to take a pause and think about 2019, okay? In 2019, 60%, and it may be a little higher than that, but 60% of companies had a model where you worked in an office. You did not take a laptop home. You did not work, go on vacation. You just plug up your laptop and work, and unless you were, senior executive leadership or the founder, the owner of the company. And it was simply because we didn't adapt that mindset that was possible, right?
Right.
But what had happened is what 2020 occurred, and then all of a sudden we were able to realize
Done it. If I deviate from that, then it's going to be disastrous. But change also comes from growth, and growth dictates that a change is needed, right? And then you also always want to keep your brand relevant and fresh. So the change brings that about too. So now everybody say it's something different, it's something new, and so they have. But when we talk about business coaching, business development, business outreach, why do most businesses, and I want to say urban businesses, fail to initiate that in part of their business model?
And the answer to that may be the answer for all businesses and all professionals. And sometimes I think we have a little fear of putting the mirror in front of us, right? So when I talked about that board of directors, kind of remove from your mind that traditional board of directors that you may see that sits atop of a company and helps them to drive strategy. Think of it as, okay, do I have my mentor,
Mm-hmm.
right? Do I have my sponsor?
Mm-hmm.
And by sponsor, I mean who is in the room saying your name and promoting you and saying, no, that's the company you need to use for this. Or if you work in corporate, no, that's the employee that you need to elevate. You also need to have, as part of that board of directors, a little bit of detractors, right? And so, no, not necessarily a diminishing voice, but a truth teller. Someone who isn't just on, I think you use the term cheerleader, right? Who's not on your cheerleading squad, but someone who's going to tell you the truth, that's going to say, hey, you know what? That presentation was amazing, but next time, here's what you want to do, right? Or eliminate this from your, the way you're showing up. Those hard conversations, but those are the ones that typically make you better.
And I agree with that. Those, to me, those are the greatest cheerleaders to me. If I got a team around me and my team telling me where I didn't get it right at, I want them even closer to me, because now you're helping me to become better, right? So don't tell me, oh, that was a great episode. I need you to come tell me, hey, Fonzo, you was talking too fast. Slow it down a little bit. Don't get too anxious in the conversation. Those are the people that make your business better, not the people that's constantly saying, great job, great job, great job, great job, great job. Even the Bible tells us, be careful of those people who just pat you on your back all the time. We got to have those people around us that's going to be 10 toes down telling us the truth. You had a great show, Alfonso, but you should change this. You was fidgeting, your legs were moving, whatever the case may be. But I have to be secure enough in myself not to take that as criticism, but take that as construction. You're helping me make this thing better. So, and that's the thing too, that a lot of people don't want that in the corner. They want you to co-sign everything, but then, we talk about, I got issues. Say, these are private conversations that we have that we make public, and that's what your board does as well. They're not going to say it to you, but they'll go behind your back and say everything that they felt you did wrong. But the boardroom is the place, and then tactfully, respectfully, because we're building, we're not tearing each other down. So when it comes to your services, how can you be reached? How can people have a consultation? It's the first consultation free. Tell us about your access and how that they can get to you.
Absolutely. The quickest, fastest way to get in touch with me is through email or by phone, 904-422-5933. My email is hcglobalfirm@gmail.com. I'm also on social media, and on Instagram, I am at hcglobalofficial. And all of my contact information is in my bio. So that's a easy, quick, one-stop place to get in touch with me. And yeah, consultation, I absolutely would recommend, because again, all you need to qualify yourself for these types of services is an open mind, right? And knowing that you have a need. So let's set up a consultation and have a conversation. If you mentioned that you did hear of this opportunity to connect with HC Global through I Got Ish to Say, there will be no fee for the consultation. So definitely reach out, set up some time, and I would love to understand how I can help to support your business. And if that's not a fit, I'll definitely be able to help you understand what your next step maybe should be.
Hey, Talking Ish Fridays. Everybody asking, what's the engine behind I Got Ish to Say podcast? This the expert right here. My vision is in safe hands. Look forward to many, many, many more amazing opportunities to hear from this great mind in the professional community. I Got Ish to Say. We're coming at you. Like, share, and subscribe.